Hi, I'm Margaret Martin, registered physical therapist. I am here to help you age stronger with exercise. Today we're going to cover aerobic considerations. We're all quite familiar with the many benefits that aerobic exercise, or also known as cardiovascular fitness, brings to us. It helps reduce heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. It helps reduce our risk of obesity, strokes, and even certain kinds of cancer. When we exercise, especially aerobically, our mood improves, and aerobic exercise has been shown to help with mental health and cognitive health. When chosen wisely, it can reduce pain and improve the movements in our arthritic joints. So that leads me to the 4 considerations I have to share with you today regarding aerobic exercise. The first one being the impact on our joints. The second, what is the impact on your bones? The third, what is your alignment and your breath and your ability to control all of the foundational elements that we discussed in the series thus far. And lastly, does it bring you satisfaction? So let's cover topic number 1, the impact on your joints. As we age, our joints are less forgiving, we have less range of motion, we have worn cartilage and other arthritic changes that make unloaded aerobic exercise choices a lot more inviting. So, you might be doing a lot more biking, a lot more swimming, water aerobics. These are wonderful for our joints. However, these choices, if left to their own demise, if that's all you're doing, aren't great at providing the stimulus that our bones need. For building bone, we need that contact, we need those ground reaction forces, and this is why when it comes to bone building, the aerobic prescription for bone building is weight-bearing exercise, that ground reaction force. Now, there are so many different exercises we can choose from when it comes to weight-bearing exercises, everything from walking to soccer and basketball and hockey and all these things where we're bearing the weight of our body through our bones. That is why when I wrote Exercise for Better Bones, I categorized cardiovascular or aerobic fitness based on someone's fracture risk. So when you are having a bone mineral density test done, you will get a fracture risk assessment done at the same time. So they take into consideration not just your bone mineral density scores, but also your health history. If you had a previous fracture, family history, things like smoking, those kind of things. So your fracture risk is really important, just as is the health of your joints, in helping you decide what is the best exercise for me, where I can get the most loading through my bones, but the least wear and tear on joints that are already a bit unhappy. As an example, when it comes to walking, a lot of people think, well, walking's really good, and it is really good for your joints in limitations. So sometimes if you walk too fast, and you start adding hills and you're like, okay, I'm going to really go at this, you haven't built up the strength yet to protect your joints. And also when it comes to the bone building part, you might not be walking fast enough to stimulate your bones. Because we know, and I have blogs dedicated just to walking, that we know that there's a certain speed that we have to walk at in order to stimulate bone. Now, that doesn't mean that, well, I can't walk fast, so I'm not going to go. Walking, it's not worth it for me. Au contraire, what you want to do is you go, okay, I'm now walking at 2 miles an hour. I'm going to gradually increase my pace so that I can finally reach, the pace that is required for bone building, which starts at 3.1 miles an hour. So, taking those little steps as we go along are so very important. But, even as you're, building up in your walking or building up in any of your exercises, our third point becomes so very important. That alignment, the principles of being able to make sure that you are supporting all of your postural components, that your breath is supporting you, and that whichever activity that you've chosen to do, that you're able to do it with those principles in mind. So the next point is, does that sport that you've chosen bring you satisfaction? And this is so very important because that's the stay factor. If you're doing something because it's good for you, but it doesn't bring you any joy, then you're likely not going to stay at it very long. So finding those things that, for some people, that swimming brings them joy, it feeds their soul, but if you know that you need to stimulate your bones, you might make swimming your treat. Instead of swimming 3 times a week, you might go, okay, I'm going to, do some brisk walking. I'm going to, get involved, in another activity that is within my fracture risk category, and, allow myself to still go swimming, for that one time that, as I say, is, brings you joy or satisfaction, because that's so very important. And doing other parts of your fitness are just going to support you in being a stronger swimmer and bring you, even more satisfaction. If aerobic fitness is one of those things that brings you satisfaction, it also, provides a social element, then I really strongly encourage you, whether you teach aerobics or you participate in aerobics, to check out a video that I did where you are, and if you click in the upper corner, you'll see a link to the aerobic considerations that I did, just really dedicated to aerobic fitness, because I know a lot of my clients and listeners, they like to do aerobics, but they have issues onto themselves. Finally, if joint pain or other limitations have removed the joy of aerobic fitness from your life, I encourage you to start small, build gradually, consider working with a certified or registered healthcare professional so that you can take a step in the right direction today. If you liked today's video, please subscribe by clicking on the subscription button. If you don't want to miss any future videos, just hit the notification button. And if you are looking for the links to my book, Exercise for Better Bones, or the videos that I've produced, then you can just look in the description box below. Have a lovely day.